we all know that you don't affect change. No laws are changed. No policies are changed by protesting. This is just a narrative instrument. This gives the media something to put the images in front of the face of people who are easily led or easily persuaded, low information voters, not people like you who are actually doing the research and listening to talk radio. The question is, will this media blitz work? My next guest is the guy at the Heritage Foundation who's in charge of keeping track of these media nerds. Tim Young, welcome back to the James Show. First off, do you think this is going to help Team Blue engender more support?
No. In fact, I think it's turning more Democrats against them. I think Democrats already are polling with their own people at, I think, 17 to 19% approval, which is pretty bad. That means only the childless cat ladies still appreciate them. But ultimately here, they're destroying blue cities, and they're going to blue cities and purple cities in some instances and wrecking them. That doesn't convince anybody to vote for you at all.
Well, I think people mistook the 2020 George Floyd series of riots, the Summer of Love, as being effective because they did well in the election that November.
Yeah, they did well in that election if we pretend that it was a free and fair election. So I guess that's one way to deceive people. But they lost, what was it, like 15 million votes from that election to 2024? Where'd those people go? Oh,
it's the damnedest thing. I have no idea. Maybe they went back to Mexico, Tim.
They could have. I was looking at the stats, actually. If we deported all the illegal aliens from California right now, I believe Republicans would win handedly in almost every election going forward.
How is that? Because they're not supposed to be voting, Tim.
Yeah, but when you get Social Security numbers and you get driver's licenses and then you get to L.A. and San Francisco where you don't have to show any kind of ID to vote, magical things can happen.
Yeah, and it's also, if you tried to adjudicate it and prosecute it, it couldn't be proven in court. So they get to say illegal voting is super rare. It almost never happens. It's illegal. They're not allowed to vote. So you need to get your facts straight.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay, well, let's talk about why is it so different here? I mean, you live in Grapevine. Why are we having riots in L.A., but when the ICE raids were happening in Dallas, no riots? What's the difference, Tim?
Better organization there. I think, when you pick a place to go. Now, I personally prefer Texas, but when you're paying for your protesters and your rioters and you're, empowering them with a couple of bucks to show up to places, I think they like the coast better. I mean, that's just me, but they also have a lot more housing and a lot more friendlies there than Dallas. I know Dallas is a little liberal. Of course, South Dallas is my favorite district in all of America with Jasmine Crockett. But in LA, I think people like the weather. It's much calmer. And also in Dallas, as much as I think it's going blue, we still enforce the law. So, not so much tolerated there, the rioting.
Right. And kudos to our current mayor, Eric, for actually, he's a Republican now. But even when we had Democrats in power, like in 2020 and whatnot, it never got out of hand like it did in so many other cities. So I think even our Democrats are more sane than what we see in Los Angeles.
Yeah, at least they put on a better show. I think ultimately when we start to get into school boards and things like that, that's where the crazies come out. But as far as actually supporting law enforcement, it seems to me that most of our major cities around here still back the blue.
Well, we're talking with Tim Young, Heritage Foundation media fellow, timyoung.com website. Trump proposed something today that I think is just meant to get under the skin of his perceived political enemies, and I don't like it, but I see why he's doing it. The idea of making flag burning illegal.
They proudly carry the flags of other countries, but they don't carry the American flag. They only burn it. Did you see a lot of the flags being burned? They weren't being burned by people from our country or from people that love our country. People that burn the American flag should go to jail for 1 year. That's what they should be doing.
Now, I don't agree with that sentiment, but I think he's setting up a whole bunch of people to go out and be white knights for anti-American haters again.
Yeah, look, I'm all for the First Amendment, and that includes burning the American flag. I don't support it. I do think there's a middle ground here, though. Maybe if you're here on a student visa and you burn an American flag, we can revoke the visa. I think that would be a neat middle ground to work with. But, again, completely disrespectful. It's disgusting that they do it. It always seems like, by the way, have you ever seen another country's flag get burned? It's always the American flag.
You know, I have seen the Israeli flag be burned.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah, so yeah,
There we go.
another great constituency there. And explain to me why we're seeing so many Palestinian flags at these immigration protests.
There was a buy three get one free sale, I think, on Poshmark. But other than that, you know, it's a lot of anti-Israel money in America. There's a lot of money from both sides of that conflict in America. But Qatar in particular funds just about everything you can think of, from schools to sports teams to our own politicians at times. There's an awful lot of money to support Palestine. And so there's a lot of propaganda, including those flags floating around.
How come Qatar doesn't support the James Show? They could buy a commercial package over here. I'd run ads for Qatar. It's like Qatar. They've got sand and oil and sand.
No, you could be like, you know how you don't want women to vote? Go to Qatar. That's
all right. Now you're killing me. I forget you're a comedian sometimes because you're making like such hard-hitting political points and then you sneak in jokes. Tim Young, I am under the impression that they are bleeding support with these protests. And I think a big chunk of that is the media can only lie to your face so many times before someone says, really, that it's mostly peaceful. I see a tire fire in the background.
Yeah, look, I really enjoyed Maxine Waters coming out and speaking yesterday when she said she was there and she saw no violence whatsoever. You know, you have CNN. I couldn't believe it the other day. I tweeted about this at Tim Runs His Mouth. See, there's the plug, where there was a CNN commentator saying that it was a peaceful protest and they had cars burning on the screen at the same time. And I could only imagine the producers of that show. It took 3 seconds for him to take it down, rushing around to hit the button to take that video down.
Oh, my goodness. I had there was a guy this morning. You may not have seen it yet. MSNBC. There's a fire going in the background. There's fireworks going off in the background. And he says, other than what you see, check this out.
It's not chaotic. It's not, nobody's, other than what you see behind me, it's actually relatively mellow, even though it might not seem that way. It's like a sort of, another thing that happens at protests like this is that they sort of settle into almost like a celebratory atmosphere, as much as like a confrontational one.
Yeah, other than what you see, this whole scene's totally mellow. And that's not from the audiobook 1984. That was in MSNBC this morning.
I don't know what that guy looks like, but from the sound of it, I wouldn't take sports picks from him.
No way. All right. Tim Young, how do we find your work online?
Go to Tim Runs His Mouth, and then that's where I'm going to have a podcast. You're going to join me next week. We're picking a day, James.
Well, pick a day. I'll promote it on the James Show, and I'll happily be your guest in exchange for being my guest anytime. All right, Tim Young, Heritage Foundation, and timyoung.com. Of course, he's also huge on Twitter and Instagram. Just go look up Tim Young. He's the first thing that pops up when you search it. Thank you, sir.
Thanks for having me.
All right, I have another sort of protest-adjacent viral video I'm going to run by you. Some guy with spaghetti arms and a man bun and a neck beard says we should be really scared of him because he has a lacrosse stick. I know it sounds like a joke. It's even funnier when you hear it coming up next on The James Show. News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. Bob Lavelle now on The James Show. And this is the guy. Listen, when you're ready to buy or sell a house, I want you to clear out your mind like you've never met any other realtor or company before. This is the only guy you need to think of, Bob Lavelle, because Bob, how many thousands of people have you put in a home?
I think we're something north of 25,000 in the DFW area.
And you're not stopping anytime soon.
We quit, literally, after 25,000, who's going to go 25,001, 25,000?
Right.
But you can help me out on something, and I don't know if you do or not. Have you ever owned a boat?
I have not owned a boat. I have watched my brother own a boat, and brother-in-law own a boat, and it doesn't look very fun.
If I've heard the expression, the best day after buying a boat is the day you sell it. And it's confused me because, and I've owned a few boats, but it's confused me because, when you sell it, you're going to get less money on the boat. And I thought about that today. So why is it the best thing to sell it? Maybe because they're a lot of work and you're doing it the right way. Your brother-in-law, you should go with him and his boat. But I just had a client call me a couple hours ago, and he bought a house about 10 years ago. He called me a while back, and he was ready to sell it, and he had a new house in mind. We made the offer. The offer was accepted, and he's going to walk away with a little over $400,000 net profit. Now, that's a good day. So the selling the house versus, the boat thing, I don't know. I'd rather be the seller of my house, collect the equity, and then go do it again.
Bob Lavelle, that's a good angle to look at it. The first house I bought, I had it for a few years, and when I sold it, with the price increase that it had, plus the equity I paid down, I got back almost half of what I had made in payments. That's what I walked away with. This is how you build wealth. Owning a home, getting out of the rent race, building equity, calling home marketing services is how you get started with that. 972-392-9595. 972-392-9595. Bob Lavelle has the classic website, blessyourheart.com, or call 972-392-9595 and get started building your wealth today. Thank you very much, Bob.
Thank you, James.
The James Show Podcast.
So while Team Blue is calling for a No Kings Day this weekend to be a nationwide protest against ICE and Donald Trump and literally Hitler, I think the proper response for us wouldn't just be to sit back and do nothing or go on about our day or just wait and laugh at them and how silly they are. I think this would be a good time for like a National Law Enforcement Appreciation Day. And I mean it sort of in a vague general sense, because law enforcement, that means, your local cops, your state cops, DPS, Texas Rangers, Border Patrol, ICE agents, all you guys, because they're the ones who are really going through it right now. We're all talking about it. They're the ones that have to strap up and like they're about to be middle linebacker with a big old shield and go stand in the street and listen to all kinds of insults and have water bottles thrown at them and spit on and just very not nice things. Can we take a moment of appreciation for what these poor guys have to go through? Because I would hate that job. Hey, you're getting overtime, James. Oh, what's going on? Well, they're doing a protest Saturday. Dang it. I don't want to do that. I want to go out there and get all suited up, stand out in the hot weather and get treated like garbage, be told I'm a Nazi. That's not what I want to do with my Saturday afternoon. So just remember, these guys are going through it, and they're just taking the brunt of all the filth in front of our face. And also, they're having to deal with all the other criminals at the same time, the usual circus that they have to encounter being a cop. And if you need a great reminder of that, WFAA this morning ran a story about a cop car that got stolen in Grand Prairie last night. And I feel so bad for these cops.
We are following breaking news this morning. A suspect is facing several charges after police say he stole a squad car while being handcuffed.
Yeah, this is a story with a lot of twists and turns this morning. Let's check in with Janelle Fort, who was live outside Grand Prairie's police department this morning. And Janelle, we are still trying to figure out how this suspect pulled this off.
Yeah, look, police on the scene say that the suspect was handcuffed the entire time. So now a big part of the investigation this morning is figuring out how he managed to get into the front seat of that squad car and take off. Grand Prairie police say this all started when officers noticed the man driving erratically on I-20, swerving, flicking his headlights. They pulled him over, cuffed him, and then somehow he ended up behind the wheel. Now, you can see the aftermath here. The chase ended off of I-30 near Westmoreland when officers pit maneuvered him and the stolen unit rolled down an embankment. Grand Prairie police say he hit speeds over 100 miles an hour during that chase and even sideswiped another police vehicle. The man was injured in the crash. You can see him being loaded into an ambulance. And now he's facing multiple charges, including theft of a motor vehicle and reckless driving. So again, this morning, Grand Prairie police are trying to figure out how this happened, where that man was able to slip in the cracks and get behind the wheel of that squad car. And this morning, we are as well. Sending it back to you.
So like a lot of young boys, I thought for a second there when I was young, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, that, being a cop, that would be a cool job. You're one of the good guys. You chase down the bad guys. You catch the criminals. You're Batman catching the Joker. You're Superman catching Lex Luthor. Insert hero here. And then the TV show Cops came out. And I realized what their job usually is. Well, I mean, from what I observed on Cops, you have some guy that's driving around without a brake light, or he's swerving, or he does something that runs through a red light or a stop sign. And so you got to pull him over, and you're dealing with just, I don't want to say like the lowest of the low, but you're dealing with the bottom rung of society. You're dealing with people that if they are criminals, they're just going to lie to your face. Have you had anything to drink today? No, officer, I hadn't had anything to drink. You want to step out of the car, please? And they just fall over because they're so drunk. There was a guy who said, do you have anything illegal on your person or in the car? He said, no, sir. Do you have any drugs or anything? No, certainly not, officer. I don't do drugs. And there's like a joint of weed that's rolled up, sticking on his ear like a cigarette. You know, people put cigarette in their ear. I remember seeing an episode of Cops where some dude had a joint in his ear saying, no, I don't have anything. So you just have to deal with the biggest idiots, the worst criminals, and everyone just lies to your face at all times. And that made it, that changed what being a cop was for me. This wasn't some position of nobility. You weren't a hero. You weren't spending all your day just being respected and lionized. You were being treated like trash. And like even more so, these poor guys that have to go stand in the riot line. I feel so sorry for these guys. What a pain in the butt it must be to be these cops. So that's what I'm going to be thinking about when they have their little No King's Day protest this Saturday. Is I just got a load of respect for you cops who have been doing this for years. And now you got to take another Saturday that you could be spending with your kids. You're probably going to miss a soccer game or a birthday party or going to the lake or something to go put on a helmet and grab a shield and deal with people who, some tie-dyed guy with a man bun and a neck beard is going to complain about the immigration laws being enforced. Hey, you guys have my respect. I couldn't do that job. Man, that seems like what a pain. You guys are great. 800-288-9227. Coming up next, Tim Young, comedian turned podcaster turned talk show host now, a fellow at the Heritage Foundation, their media watchdog, is going to break down the media coverage of this next. I'm James Parker. It's News Talk 820 and 93.3 FM WBAP.
Will there be more rioting in additional U.S. cities, or is the military button things up in L.A.? The latest coverage starting at 5:06.
And it's the WBAP Pet of the Week from the SPCA live in studio as we continue to help homeless animals here in North Texas find their forever homes. That's at 8:45.
I'm Ernie Brown.
And I'm Carla Marion.
Bonnie Cook has your news headlines at the top and bottom of each hour. Julie DeHardy has your traffic, and Chief Meteorologist Brad Barton has your weather on the ones. Plus, Hal J has the laughs.
Tomorrow morning, 5 till 9, only on the WBAP Morning News on News Talk 820 and 93.3 FM WBAP.
All right, listen, homeowners, I don't know when this bad weather is going to end. I know usually we're about halfway through June and it's supposed to be 1,000 degrees. It's supposed to be the surface temperature of Mercury. But look, it's all gloomy. It looks like London outside. Your house has had a terrible, terrible time with weather here in 2025. And if you have any doubts on your roof, you need to call Blue Ribbon Roofing. James Parker here. Go to blueribbondfw.com. Read some of the reviews. That'll make you feel a little bit better about all the people here in North Texas who have gone to the website, scheduled their free roof inspection, gone through the process. A lot of these people have gotten a patch done or they've gotten a whole new roof. You'll hear a lot of people who are praising them for helping them with the insurance company. The insurance was trying to short sheet the bed. Blue Ribbon stepped in and saved the day, got them their full cost of the roof covered. So it's not just getting the roof on your house. It's also getting it paid for, and it's getting the insurance company to do what it's supposed to do. Cover your roof. You've been paying those premiums all these years. Let them help you get something out of it. Go to blueribbondfw.com right now. Schedule your free review. I did it 2 weeks ago. Go to blueribbondfw.com. Some people put stuff online, and I just slap my head. Because they put it online as if this is like macho and intimidating. And aren't you scared? Actually, no, man bun. I'm not scared. Today's example, I got to paint the picture of the guy. He's got a man bun and he's got a beard. And it's not like a well-kept beard like mine. Like, I shave the underneath and on my neck and above the line. He has the whole neck beard and everything going. It looks like he's wearing some sort of tie-dye clothes, and he looks really skinny, and I don't know. I mean, he says he's awesome at lacrosse, but he looks like he's never lifted weight. He's got like little spaghetti arms. And listen to this threat. Does this scare you? This viral video?
So, rumor is, if you throw rocks at any federal agents or their vehicles, it'll get you put on FBI's most wanted list. To which I say, how hard do I have to throw these rocks to get put on it? Because my 35th birthday is coming up, and it would be wonderful to get put on that list. It's been a goal of mine. And knowing that I can throw rubber projectiles with this doohickey right here,
a lacrosse
about
stick,
100 miles an hour, imagine what I could do with a rock. You ever been domed with a rubber ball? Just a solid rubber ball? Oh, it'll knock you clean out. A rock? It'll shatter your skull. The indigenous peoples called this game Bagataway, among many other names. One of them was Little Brother of War. Can you guess what I want to do? I want to go to war with federal agents. You, ICE. You, Gestapo.
Are you scared? Are we supposed to be scared from this? Because I'm not. In fact, I don't think I've ever been scared of anyone holding a lacrosse stick. I don't think anyone in the history of America has been scared of a dude holding a lacrosse stick. Has anyone ever committed a crime while holding a lacrosse stick? Is there a more, I don't want to say effeminate, but is there like a safer sign that the guy across from you is harmless than holding a lacrosse stick? I mean, maybe if he's holding like a feather boa or something, but he's saying this like he's intimidating, like his little left. What is this performative trash talk, too? You want to be on the FBI wanted list? You think that's cool? Do you think that helps your cause? Are you doing this for personal clout because you think other people will think it's cool? See, this is. I get the feeling because you can almost tell by the way he talks. Like this guy went to too nice of a school growing up. Not only did they have lacrosse, but they didn't have bullies. You can tell this guy. I got punched in the face several times when I was a kid. And by several times, I mean at least once a year through my entire life up till about age 23 or 24. I think was the last time I got punched in the face. And I didn't necessarily do things to deserve it. It was just kind of a rough and tumble time. And, I didn't go to like a ghetto school. I'm from the middle of nowhere country. So, I don't think this guy ever got bullied. And he should have. People like that run their mouth like this. They've never been bullied. You can tell I've been bullied. But is there a sport more associated with just affluent, softy white kids than lacrosse? You're not scaring anybody. And just the illogic of the point he's trying to make. You're bragging because you could put a rock in your lacrosse stick and you can make it go 100 miles an hour, a tiny little rock. So you're admitting that the ability to make small projectiles go really fast is a useful thing, even a scary thing. Okay. Well, if you think that's good, wait until you hear about guns. What do you think guns are? Oh, that's good. That's good. You can make a tiny rock go 100 miles per hour. Well, I can make a tiny little ball of lead go 2,500 miles per hour. Who's going to win? You want to escalate this to where with deadly force, you got to clean out. It'll kill you for rock. Dude, you're bringing a rock to a gunfight. You have a man bun and a lacrosse stick. You are not ready to go to war against the federal agents, even against an elderly woman with a .38 special. You would lose. Who are these people? Is that what happened? What's your theory on this guy running around his mouth? I want to be on the FBI most wanted list. Oh yeah, guy with the lacrosse stick. Yeah, you're a real scary criminal. We're all real intimidated. You're very macho. You must get all the chicks. In fact, see if you can save some chicks for the rest of us. What is with the man bun guy? Have you been scared of anyone in the lacrosse stick? Have you ever seen anyone commit a crime with the lacrosse stick? If you have your lacrosse stories, we're going to hear them next, but 0 people are going to call because no one has a lacrosse criminal story except for the Duke case, right? That's the only negative association anyone has ever seen with lacrosse. So the Wilmer Hutchins shooter, it stinks that I have to put a delineation here, not the one that happened a couple months ago, but the one that happened last year in 2024, finally got sentenced. I mean, to say finally, that's actually pretty fast for our judicial system, given some cases. You just got 5 years. Is that insanely low to you? That sounds crazy town to me. 5 years for a guy who took a gun into school. I thought it was a gun-free zone. You didn't want to punish him for that? And then out of anger, it wasn't an accidental shooting. It's not like he was in algebra and he was cleaning his gun and it accidentally went off and hit the fella next to him. It was intentional malice. He shot a guy. I mean, he didn't kill him, but he tried to get away. Didn't work. He was found. So this wasn't a self-defense case either. This was a guy who did a school shooting. This was a guy who intentionally took a gun to school and shot a fellow child. 5 years in jail. If you want to know how to solve the problem with school shooters or crime in certain neighborhoods or any neighborhood or any society or any city or any state. Number one is when someone does a serious crime and shows you who they are, you put them in jail for a very long time. Now, does that fix the problem? It might. A lot of people go to jail and they have enough time to sort of think about what they've done, and when they come out, they're on the straight and narrow. God bless all you people who did that. But for many people, they're just waiting until they get out so they can commit some more crime. And when you put a guy in there for 5 years, that means you're going to have a guy who comes out about, 23 years old, 24? I don't know how old he is now, but about 23, 24. And instead of spending the previous 5 years, matriculating in university, and even if he's not going to a nice university, having a job, paying taxes, being a part of society, even if you go to like Brookhaven or El Centro or some community college, it's way better than being in jail. So you're going to have this guy who's going to go hang out with all the real professional criminals, and then he's going to be let out in 5 years, right back into the same community. And the odds are astronomically high that he's going to do this again. On a long enough time scale, the odds say, the numbers say, the math says that someone who's willing to commit a crime like this, and specifically like this, not he was embezzling some money from his employer, or not he was driving after having 6 beers, or he was a guy caught with the bag of pot. This is a guy who intentionally hurt someone with lethal force. Now, it didn't kill the other guy, but statistics say you shouldn't have a whole lot of hope for this guy. Now, if you were to put him in jail for, say 10, 15 years, what you could do is have not only the next 5 years he's not going to be committing crimes in society, the next 15 years he's not going to be committing crimes in society. Let me give you a great counterbalance, because I think most people that listen to WBAP, probably you included, don't actually live in Dallas. Or if you live in Dallas, you're not in the heart of Dallas. You're not in like this hyper urban, super dense area. You're in what's more like a suburb. Culture's different, life's different, crime's different, things are different. But where I'm from, about 90 miles that away, things are very different. Let me give you an example. If in my hometown, at the Bug Tussle newspaper, I just wanted to look up, what's the latest terrible crime that someone got sent to jail for? And there was one. Last week, guy got convicted of pimping. And I'm not saying that to be funny. He was literally the pimp for a prostitute. And they say she was teenage, but not minor. So 18, 19 years old. So the guy that got in trouble for being a pimp got 15 years in prison in Bug Tussle. Wow. So a vice crime got 3 times the sentence in the middle of nowhere. Different culture, different people on the jury, different judges that are elected by different people. It's a different world. You drive 90 miles in any direction, you're on a different planet than here where I'm sitting right now. This guy shoots a child in the leg at school. Only 5 years. You know what? You people aren't serious. You gun control people. We need to have gun laws. We need to have strict gun laws. We need to have strict enforcement of gun laws. You don't believe that. The guy broke gun laws. He wasn't supposed to have a gun. He didn't get it legally. He had it in a gun-free school zone. And slap on the wrist. That's all you get. Terrible. You can go tax the rich people all you want. You can call your political opponents Nazis all you want. You can go on all kinds of racial crusades. You can have riots. You can burn cars. But until you do something about this, there's still going to be people shooting at your children in the bad neighborhoods. There's still going to be people committing heinous, violent crimes at a much greater rate than that could easily be prevented. It's not going to be utopia. It's not going to be perfect. It's not going to fix everything. But we could at least reduce the crime if you would put your criminals in jail.
The James Show Podcast.